This is episode 39 of the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. In this episode, JK and I are in person. We get to have a little sit down together where JK is staying at in Las Vegas, and we talk about several things in the hybrid fitness space and this upcoming HYROX Major, as well as our own doubles race, what our strategy is, and how you can implement your own double strategy with any type of partner. Let's make hybrid fitness work for you. How's it going today, JK?
There you go, Anthony, in the flesh.
In the flesh. We're here in person. Good.
I'll be honest. When you were saying you're on your way, I got nervous.
So
guys, this is the third time.
Third time.
Yeah, we see each other every week because we have meetings online, but third time in a year. Yeah,
third time. Yep, we saw each other first. So you talked to Lauren after Vienna, which was February last year, and then we started working together. What was the date? February 15th.
15th,
right after Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we saw each other in DC for the first time.
Yeah.
I got to watch you race in person.
Yeah.
Learned a little bit from that, and then I didn't see you again until Worlds in France.
Yep.
This is the third different city we've seen each other in.
Yeah.
I was about to say it's the third continent, but I haven't been to Australia yet. So
Not yet.
Maybe that's the next one.
There you go.
And then we saw each other in France a little bit. You had a great race, and everybody was exhausted after Worlds, though.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody slept the night after.
No.
And it was kind of a fugue state after that for a little bit, and then you and Georgie left like a day later or something.
Yeah,
we didn't get a lot of time. You guys left and went on a Riviera cruise.
On a cruise, that's right.
Yeah.
How's it knowing that you guys don't have to travel for the race next weekend?
It's interesting. I've never had a HYROX in our hometown. Last time HYROX was in Las Vegas, we were living in Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay. So
we came down here, and I have family here, so like we was like stayed with the family and everything.
Yeah.
But it was never had a HYROX in the hometown. It's gonna be a little bit different. A little bit just, you kind of want to keep your same process that you have, like getting ready for an event, because that's what's normal.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you treat it like you travel anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Lauren will be good.
Yeah. In person, I do say the advantage is like you were talking about just a minute ago. You flew in here, and it's just, it feels off to you, but it's not off like it's different, because you left at 11 a.m. and you got here at 10 a.m. on the same day.
Yeah.
So you actually landed an hour before you left, like we talked about last week. And so your day was just long. It was almost like you just repeated the same day. You slept a little bit on the plane, and how you feeling now? You've been here for a few days.
I've had 2 nights of sleep, and I've actually slept like a baby both nights. It's been great. As Anthony just said, I took off Australia time on midday on Tuesday, and then landed Vegas time 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So I gained 2 hours. I ended up doing 2 workouts on Tuesday in my eyes, because I worked out before I jumped on the flight, and then I ran when I got here in Vegas. So it was a good day of training. Nice. But just going back to it, as I said this to Georgie, as soon as I hopped on the flight, like it was, I knew I was, going to a race. I was getting prepared. So obviously traveling to an event, like a lot of people do have to travel to race in these Elite 15 races. So it's kind of like understanding, if you don't have to travel, like someone like Lauren next weekend, it's trying to still have the same processes, right? Put into play. So yeah, no, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I'd say on the coaching side, it's actually a little different because usually I can factor in, well, these 12 hours or whatever, these hours on this flight, she is forced to taper.
Mm.
So it's uh like everybody else, they have a flight, they have like a forced rest time. So I don't know how like we deal with that because it's just projecting straight forward to the race, but it'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that's right.
So since the last time we talked, we already knew about this last time, but I'm glad we're allowed to talk about it now. JK is the proven HYROX coach. So for anybody that comes from the CrossFit space, they know what proven is. It's Tia Claire Toomey and Shane Orr. They're coaching and programming, and they have brought JK on to head up their HYROX division programming. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, yeah. So I was lucky to get to know Shane and Tia just before Tia's first HYROX race in Melbourne in December. I remember the first time I met them both. It was very surreal because I had been watching Tia online for years, and here I was about to get after it against her. Actually, I had that workout against her and James Newbury, and it was funny because beforehand, the three of us, it wasn't as if we were going into it against each other, but I think you'd understand this. Tia Claire Toomey being the competitor that she is, the three of us and James Newbury like knew we were actually racing, so it was quite funny. And then from there, like we just stayed in contact. We actually live 5 minutes up the road from Shane and Tia, and then over time, yeah, we've developed a relationship, and then now I'm honored to say that I'm the proven head coach, and the proven head coach of the HYROX programming, which is launching on the 5th of February. It's a program, and we're starting with 8-week cycles. We're having a week, I guess, to get everyone ready for the 8 weeks. So we have one, I guess, what would you call it, a welcome week, and then 8-week cycles. So you'll get to understand a lot more in the next 2 weeks about that. So yeah, it's
That's
exciting.
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So you have your proven head coach. So maybe that means one day we'll talk to Shane or Tia or somebody on here too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
That'd
yeah,
be
yeah,
fun.
definitely.
That'd be neat. All right. What does it mean like to be the head coach for them for HYROX? So I mean, you and I would talk all the time about how, when you train for HYROX, you're training for general fitness and you do HYROX specific things sometimes, right?
Mm,
Well, Proven is usually it's a CrossFit programming, its background, right? They train people for general fitness. What I imagine they would be lacking is the high endurance base, the running volume and stuff that HYROX would require. So, what did they bring you on to do in that sense of their program? Is it
yeah,
just like I'm trying to understand myself? Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
just the like people that are doing CrossFit and they want to do a HYROX, you're going to prepare them for a HYROX, or can they train their general fitness um, on this platform?
Yeah, like interesting. And it was a question that I actually ended up asking them as well because Tia, let's just as an example, Tia and Shane being the founders of Proven, but alongside a lot of other coaches, Nick Johnson, the CEO, they know their stuff in relation to all round fitness and programming for not just CrossFit, but broad fitness, right? Um, they want my expertise around obviously more so the structure of delivering a HYROX specific program with respect to the sport specific um, attributes of that program. Now, the biggest thing that I've been talking to them about is making sure that we deliver this well-rounded fitness program to be tailored towards aerobic fitness because ultimately, most of their tracks right now are CrossFit based tracks. And the priority for me and for them to understand is, well, if this is a results driven HYROX program through Proven, we've got to do it the way that I believe and most people believe in the HYROX space, and that is treat it like an aerobic base platform, like we talk about all the time, to then go from there. And I guess to go back to your question, though, Anthony, that's the beauty of, and what I really enjoyed getting to know Shane and Tia is, I feel like they are open to learning and evolving their own knowledge and understanding for just broad fitness components. And I'll be honest and say, like, they wouldn't be if they didn't elect me as their coach, right? Because I'll be the first to say that Shane could easily be the head coach of their HYROX program, but they obviously wanted some more of a someone who's been in the space for 2 years. So yeah, so we're starting on the 5th of Feb, and it's going to evolve. We've already spoken about the prospect of doing levels, so making sure that we have like a scalable program where we could have level 1, 2, and 3, and level 1 is like a sub 60 or a sub 65 for a female athlete, a sub 75, and then a sub 90 or your first HYROX. So actually treating it very critically towards the individual and what they deserve as well. So yeah, again, I'm very honored because, as I said, 2 months ago, I was still fangirling Tia Claire Toomey on social media, and here I am kind of partnering up with them. So yeah, I feel very privileged and honored.
That's awesome. And you're coaching her, right?
I am coaching her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So funnily enough, as soon as they did the HYROX Melbourne, James Newbury and Tia, they came to me and asked if I could program for both of them to hit Brisbane HYROX together, which is in 6 weeks, or 5 weeks actually, March 2nd. So I've been programming for them since Melbourne, and they're doing great. They've upped their mileage and overall like running volume and learning thresholds, as we discuss a lot, and obviously doing a lot more, let's just say, sports specific stuff. Because as much as I'll give you an example, as much as, let's just say, Tia Claire Toomey has done a lot of burpees in her life, a lot, right? She probably hasn't done a lot of burpee broad jumps.
Yeah.
So she's getting specific like that, but she knows, and I'm not just giving her burpee broad jumps, but it's the ability to understand that we need to get very specific when it counts, well, especially when it comes to a doubles, right? Their high output as athletes already, being CrossFitters, is very important to keep, because that's how they're going to actually do very well in a race such as doubles as well. So that's been great to actually see them go at it, and especially the running volume, and giving them a little bit more running than what they're used to.
That's awesome. Yeah, maybe wants to hear about CrossFitters going to HYROX. Actually, my wife, Lauren, she was just on a podcast with Kettlebells and Cocktails, which is mostly CrossFit podcast. But they've their guy, John Woolley, the meme guy, Woolley Memeth on Instagram, he's going to do a HYROX, a second one actually, and they were interested in it, and they talked to her because Lauren was right. She was like one of the first CrossFitters to come over to HYROX and like have success and
Right.
really do it. And there's been a lot of other CrossFitters that have like come over and had success, but it really depends on their aerobic background, their running ability. I think things like people like Michaela Norman, Rachel Vonderak, these other ones that have like come over from CrossFit and found success in HYROX, they definitely had the running volume before they
beforehand.
found success
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And Lauren, as we've discussed, she's ran all pretty much all her life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So she did CrossFit obviously pretty well for quite some time, but had the solid aerobic base before that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So she was swimmer, soccer
That's right.
player, swam in college. She was actually telling me a funny story the other day. So she swam in college. So she had a bunch of swimmer friends, and they'd go to meets, and they would take the escalator up the upstairs when they get to the hotel room. And Lauren was like, "Well, why don't we just take the stairs?" And they're like, "It's rest day. I don't want to hinder my taper." Because they didn't want to waste their steps
And
on
what
taking the stairs up.
and
So
what
they
would
would take
Lauren
the
do?
but Lauren would take
Take the
the
stairs.
stairs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But she would also run during outside of swim practice, and a lot
Mm.
of them didn't. So I found that really funny that like they take escalators and elevators because they don't want to ruin their taper with the extra steps going up the stairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's
that's
hilarious. But
hilarious. So all right, so not this weekend, but coming up next week, we're about a week away. When this comes out, it will be 1 week away from the third major in Las Vegas, the Elite 15 major. Just a little bit going over the schedule. I want to tell everybody the Friday is the Elite 15 major. It's Friday night, probably starting around 6 p.m. local time for the women, maybe 5 p.m. for the women. And then Saturday is a full day of events that we will probably run. JK and I are doubles in the evening, mid-afternoon, evening time
mm,
is probably when they're going to schedule it. We don't know the exact time till probably next Tuesday or Wednesday. And then on Sunday morning, stay on the lookout. We're going to do a hike. Lauren, we've opened up a community hike for anybody that wants to come, not just the hybrid engine athletes or JK's athletes, but anybody, anybody in the community. We were going to do it inside the national park, Red Rock, but I think we're going to do the one that's right outside of Red Rock because you have to pay to get into the park, and we don't want to like have that barrier for anybody. So if you want to do the hike, we'll make an announcement about it. It'll be outside in the morning on Sunday. And then if you want to go into the national park called Red Rock, which is really cool, there's a 13-mile drive-through loop you can do. There's a ton of hikes on it. If you're looking to do anything in Las Vegas, not on the strip, it's right outside Vegas. It's fantastic. You'll be able to go into the park right after or before, depending on what time the hike is. We'll announce it. We'll announce where and the time and everything. So keep on a lookout for that. It should be a ton of fun. That'll be Sunday morning. And then Sunday evening is to finish the whole weekend off the women's Elite 15 relay. I think we talked about it last week, but I'm still super stoked about it. I got to have one-on-ones with all of them this week, and I just kept telling them like, yeah, I think I'm more excited for your guys' relay than the Elite 15 race, just because it's so cool to
it's so
see
exciting, eh?
these four women just go hammer. Uh, it's going to be super good.
2 runs, 2 stations. So just quickly, Lauren Weeks, obviously, Zara, Per
Zara Piergianni,
Perigiani, Kate
Kate
Davey,
Davey, Lauren Griffith, and my
Lauren
wife
Griffith.
Lauren Weeks. So
Yeah,
right now, hopefully by the time the relay goes off, all four of them will be qualified for Worlds.
that's right.
We're
Yeah.
rooting on Zara on Friday. She'll be ready. I think she'll have a good shot too to get her world qualifying spot in
And
Vegas.
just on the relay, be totally honest. I know you very well. You definitely have a time that you think that they'll do.
So
I'm not
I
saying
mean,
you
I
don't
mean,
have to say it right now, but
so
knowing you, you'll
I'm not gonna
definitely
put
have
any
it.
pressure on them because we like you got to see the course, you got to see how they're gonna run the course, who like how it's moving and stuff. But the women's world record is 53:58.
53,
Um,
58. Oh,
I got to tell you that I didn't tell them this, so if they listen, maybe they'll hear this.
there you go,
Um,
girls.
I looked up the men's world record of relay, the
What is
men's
it?
world record relay to
Yeah.
see like could they beat it? It's like
Oh,
47 something. So I was
oh,
like I
wow.
was like I don't know, but I think them coming close to 50 minutes is absolutely possible.
Wow. So you think
So
it could be
it could be. I mean,
it could be
we'll see
50
what.
low
Well,
or
yeah, we could see what happens. I just got pretty excited about it. I think it's gonna be an awesome race, and we'll see
yeah,
if there's some way to broadcast it or have somebody live stream it or something.
definitely.
It'll
Definitely.
be great.
Maybe YouTube or something.
It won't be me because
You'll be
I'll be shaking, like moving. You guys won't be able to see anything except for blurs. Uh, so going on to the race, uh, before we get into at a whole Elite 15 race, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what happened last time because this is only the second race ever in Las Vegas, right? The first race was a world championship. The second race is an Elite 15 major.
Oh, that's great.
Like those are the only two. This will be the second race that's ever happened in Vegas. So what happened last time? Well, it was the 2022 World Championships. On the women's side, I was at this race. I was actually given me and Zach Von Der Ack were given a special privilege to be on the floor in front of the barriers because both our wives were pregnant during the race.
Sorry, Zach.
Zach Von Der Ack, Rachel Von Der Ack's husband.
Okay.
So Rachel was 4 months pregnant. Lauren was 8 months pregnant. I'm sure people may have seen pictures already of it.
Yeah.
If you go look, it's where she's wearing a white shirt and you can definitely tell she's pregnant. She starts the race off in the lead.
Of course she does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full belly full of baby. The first
really?
lap, the first lap, she's in the front, like just hammering that run. She doesn't give in for that, right? So she did fantastic. I just remember I was able to be so close to the floor that I was watching like in front of her ski erg
Did you?
as she was skiing. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
So anyway, if anybody wants to go back and look, you can watch the race. It wasn't great coverage back then. It definitely was not on par with any of the majors we've seen.
Is it on YouTube though?
I think it is somewhere.
I think I've seen it somewhere.
But there was that race, and Viola actually was leading the race. I just remember. So Viola had taken second to Lauren 2 years in a row up to that point.
Yeah.
And then Viola was leading the race, going like into the lunges, and she ran an extra lap.
Oh,
I remember being at the like in arch and watching her run by again. And I was like, wow. I tried to yell to her, but it was very loud and she turned the corner. So she ran an extra lap and ended up like fourth into lunges at that time. And by that time you're just a little defeated and
definitely.
Going back. So she runs an extra lap. The end results, some of these names might be familiar to people. Chris Rogloski won. Linda Meyer was second.
Wow.
And Miriam Van Roor did 100 unbroken wall balls, which back then was kind of unheard of, and ended up taking third.
Wow.
Coming back from like fifth, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And what was the men's field? So
the men's field in Vegas, it was first, second, third went Hunter, Ryan Kent, and Alex Ronkovic.
Okay.
However, and see, this is something that like it's not the same penalty or difference anymore. So Hunter only did 3 lengths of burpees in the race, and his judge told him to go.
Out of what?
Out of 4 lengths. So it was on a grid.
So he did 60 meters of burpees.
Yeah, he did 60 meters of burpees, and his judge told him to go. And then Ryan Kent wasn't too far behind him. His judge didn't tell him to go, but he saw Hunter go, so he just left. So he left like after he finished a length. Ronkovic did all of it, and at the end, what they ended up doing was penalizing them 1 minute. Now, that was probably a fair penalty in terms of like what 1 length of lunges plus the extra run plus the extra fatigue from it. But Ronkovic was getting closer towards the end, so I'm wondering like what would that have changed? You know, you can't rerun the race, and it's probably how they would have ended up anyway. But you always kind of wonder. Nowadays, if somebody leaves a length of burpees early, it's an automatic DQ, isn't it?
DQ.
Yeah. So, just interesting. But yeah, first place Hunter, second place Ryan Kent, third place Ronkovic, 2022 World Championship.
Do you know the time? Sorry, you probably don't know the times for that.
Not off the top of my head, but
no,
I can.
Oh well, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's amazing to like 2022. So that's 2 years ago. compared to now, it's the sport has just evolved so much, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Um, and you'll if you go back and watch Lauren's or the Elite 15 women's race, Lauren being 8 months pregnant, you'll see the broadcasting and how different it is now to what you'll see on Friday night as well. So, um, but apart from Ronkovic, Hunter and Ryan Kent are racing
Yeah.
on Friday. So,
Yep. So
um,
actually here, I just pulled it up. The winning time from Hunter was a 58:05. Uh now I remember what they did here. They made a grid, but it wasn't like a normal grid. The rock zone was like 150 meters from the in arch to the grid. So they had claimed that like, well, everybody's racing the same race, so it's just going to be extra long running.
so it's just going to
It
be a
was a
longer,
super long rock zone. Uh,
hopefully.
and just as a reference, the normal race, the men's pro race, David Magida won because he wasn't in the Elite 15. David Magida won with a 59 something.
Oh, wow.
So, like,
So
if you
it's,
compare exact times, David Magida would have been second,
oh,
but
wow.
it wasn't.
It wasn't the same
It wasn't the
race.
same race.
Okay.
Now, just for reference, how I told you that they applied a 1 minute penalty to both Hunter and Ryan Kent, right,
Mm.
for the burpees. Ronkovic, with Ryan Kent's 1 minute penalty, Ronkovic only finished 12 seconds behind Kent.
Oh, wow.
So so it was a
No.
minute 12, but with the 1 minute
Yeah.
penalty, so their place didn't change. But that's curious. Like, well, if Ronkovic had been within striking distance, do you think he could have got up over that hump? We don't know. But listed as
Mm.
some of these names from the last time people raced in Vegas: Hunter McIntyre, Ryan Kent, Alex Ronkovic, Tim Vinish, Dylan Scott, Michael Sandbach, Rich Ryan, Joffrey Voisin, Tom Hogan, Martin Machilius, Cole Schwartz, Holger Corner, and Thomas Thurdvik. I
Oh,
tell you
wow.
what, there's basically, besides ninth through 12th place there, I think every single other person is currently in the Elite
The Elite
15.
15. Yeah. So that's interesting. That hasn't changed that much, has it?
Yeah. I mean, you got one, two, three, four people and two missing, so 6 spots. So you're looking at 9 of these guys that are either in the Elite 15 now, and I think Ronkovic and Sandbach are the only group of that not racing in
Not
Vegas this
racing.
time.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, so that's pretty interesting, pretty cool that uh, I like to look back at the history like that, and that the last time we were in Vegas, Lauren was pregnant with Lily,
Yeah.
and this time Lily gets to watch her.
Lily gets
So
to
that's pretty
watch.
special for us.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Um, all right, so the Elite 15 race. Maybe we'll go over that next time. Maybe next week I'll do a solo episode, or I'll invite somebody else on that I can talk about the Elite 15 race a little bit.
Hmm.
And because you're going to be pretty busy with your preparing for the Elite 15 race. But how you feeling going into that?
Yeah, great. To be honest, I've had a great preparation since Hong Kong. I think two it's been 9 weeks, I think exactly since Hong Kong. So it's been a good block of training. Be honest, I'm ready to go. I don't know what else to say. There's not much else to do apart from just getting my body recovered enough now, and um, yeah, it'll be good. It'll
Good.
be good.
So one thing I did want to talk about on this was going to be, you and I are racing a doubles. Uh, our race plan.
Yes.
I mapped out some stuff. It's probably not going to go exactly to plan, but one thing that I think we can take away from this is, educationally, how should somebody create a race plan for a doubles race? If, one of the partners is significantly more fit than the other, or if they're more adept at running it, or however it is, right? Because ideally, with a HYROX doubles, you don't want the dichotomy. You don't want somebody who can only lift heavy and someone who can only run fast, because you actually put yourself at a big disadvantage. You can't
Correct.
play
Yeah.
to ease of strength. You, in a HYROX doubles, you kind of want people with similar skill sets to be able to propel each other forward.
Yeah.
Uh, you are definitely the much faster runner. So we're gonna have a little like
You,
you're gonna get a lot of rest on your running. So we have to actually slow your running down. But I might be able to help you get faster on the stations if I'm not overexerted on the run.
mm.
So just for everybody out there, our little race plan is going to be uh now I know you said for me to take the lead out the gate, but that's a terrible idea. I don't know if you watched Decafit
That's
SoCal
why I
last
said
year.
it.
No,
Yeah,
if
because I
if
want you to
I
just, I
if
just
I
want you
do
to
that, we're
go.
gonna come out at a 4 minute mile, and by the second lap, we're gonna be running 8 minute miles.
So I've got
So
to tell you to slow down.
yeah,
I'm
I
assuming.
need
Yeah.
like that's and at Decafit SoCal, that's what Lauren said. Is she goes, "You go set the pace, and I'll follow you," and then I just
You
outran
just
her.
took off.
Like,
It
yeah.
was it
So
was you actually got out of the actual broadcasting because
yeah,
you actually took
yeah.
off. Yeah.
I ran in front of the camera person
Yeah.
because I was just flying. So I need you to set the pace, and I'll follow.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Yep.
but then like stick around me. Like so like, for example, the way we created our race plan is that I'm actually going to be running a little bit above my threshold during the runs, which is going to be below JK's threshold by quite a bit, actually. Man, not quite a bit, but significant enough that he should recover very well on every run, while I am pushing every single run. When we get to the stations, he is going to start every station because he basically just got off his active rest. Whereas me, I get a rest, usually anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds right away. And then I will do middle portions. So I'll be doing middle portions of each station and he'll end the station. So essentially for me, it's going to be an interval workout with complete stop rest. So for example, just the first station, we're running together, right? JK is going to start in the ski erg, row about 350 meters. He should take him like 60 to 70 seconds. And then I can get on there and I'm going to do 300 meters, which should take me about 60 seconds. And then he's going to get on and do the rest of the 350.
So you'll get a
So
minute break
yeah,
before we run again.
essentially like you get a minute break, I get a minute break, you get a minute break, I get a minute break, and then we're back to running. So that interval between there, and I've actually tested this running out on a treadmill so that I can be like, well, here's my pace, here's what I can run, and here's how we go through it. So using that little 350, 300, 350 strategy, I'll be able to get enough rest, I think, to run another 1K at above my threshold pace, and then hopefully recover enough on the sled push.
Yeah.
A sled push, same thing. You start, I take a little, you start, I take a little, you start, I take a little, you finish, and then we go out on the next run. So I should be able to get about like intermittent 20 to 30 seconds rest, um, a little bit between each push, right? Same thing on the pole, almost the exact same strategy, but those little rests, those full rests should help me recover enough that I can push these runs. And then uh, when we get to the burpees, it's going to be you're doing a bigger set
Yeah.
because you can do a bigger, faster set, more continuous work. Whereas I do short, like 3 and 4 burpees as fast as I can, but I'll have longer periods of rest, like 20 seconds of rest between each of those
Yeah.
sets.
I think you said something like six. I do six, you do four. I do six, you do four,
Yeah,
and
seven,
then
four.
7-4 or something. Okay.
Yeah, 7-4, seven
Damn it.
four, 7-4-3 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But you'll be starting and ending every single station except for the next one, and that's the rower. So after the burpees, I need JK. He's gonna finish a not a significant portion, but an ending portion of the burpees. So I get some rest, and we're gonna run that next 1K. And then I'm going to start on the rower. The reason why I'm going to start in the rower is because getting in and out of the rower, every single one of those transitions is very expensive in
Mm.
terms of time, right? You have to pay with the time, with your bleed time there on every transition of the rower. So I'm going to jump on the rower first. Uh, and I think I'll be able to put out still pretty high. So I'm going to do 300 meters when I get on the rower, and we're going to have one switch. That 300 meters will give you about a minute break, which
Yeah.
you're much better at recovering within a minute. Like a minute, your heart rate's going to come way down.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit that 300 pretty hard, and then I get off. you're going to get on and do the last 700. That 700 should be about 2.5-ish,
2.5, yeah.
almost 220,
Which
215.
is a great rest for
Uh,
you.
that's a great rest for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's kind of like my recovery to the back part of the race. And that's really important because neither one of us is really, you don't get a rest during the farmer carry,
No,
which is the following
you're still
station,
moving pretty
because
quickly.
you can still row pretty hard and then run at my pace, I
Mm,
think. Like, so
yeah,
for you, I'm like a kilometer per hour slower than what you usually run your
yeah,
thresholds at, is what we're going to keep our runs at.
yeah.
So I'm going to be able to keep the pace up on the run this time, and I might be the pacer. But when we get to the farmer carry, right, we'll be carrying those things. Again, you start, I'm middle, you end.
Yeah.
And I think with that, because we'll be jogging alongside each other, it's more of a float rest for that one before the
Mm.
next 1K. So that's gonna be a pretty hard 1K right before the lunges. We get to the lunges. I'm going to you're gonna start. I do middle, you end. I do well, actually I think we have a little bit more switches in there on this one because they're but this is also another like kind of expensive
Switch.
time-wise switch because you have to take it from the back, right? You
Mm.
don't just get to like
Yeah.
flip it
It could
over.
be 3, 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so maybe we don't switch as many times.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the last one, you still end, gives me a little bit of like walking rest to finish before the last run. And then the wall balls, where our plan right now is 30, 30, 20, 20.
Yep.
And I can end this one because we just finished. The main thing is if my calves hold up, and I don't cramp out. So just for any listeners out there, the last time I did a HYROX Pro solo by myself, I was 66 minutes, and I had calf cramps in both my calves at the start of the lunges. So
Wow.
I think I went back and looked, and I think my last run was about 45 seconds slower than it would have been.
Because of
And
that, yeah.
my lunges were probably 45 seconds, and my wall balls were over a minute slower than they would have been, just because of cramping in both my calves, like
Mm.
really bad, like to the point where like I was running with my toes up on my heels to try to finish. Um, and I was doing wall balls in like sets of like 8, which that I just couldn't
Yeah.
move, right?
That
So
won't be the case this time.
that won't be the case.
No.
Hopefully, I don't cramp up. And I've had cramping issues like that before. I think I'm going to get better on hydration and nutrition. But uh, the idea, the lesson here is like JK's PR is 12 minutes faster than mine, right? Over 12 minutes.
Mm.
So the whole goal is not to find what is our average pace between us on our solos, but for me as JK's double partner to make sure that we go, me being his partner makes him faster than him doing it by himself.
Mm.
And that's going to be really hard because I know our runs are going to be slower than what you would do by yourself. So we have to almost gain it all in the
In the
stations.
stations, right? Yeah, yeah. So that's, I guess, that's our tactic. And I think for those of you who have done a doubles or are going to do one, sorry, it's great to have a plan like this, right? But also be okay with, it might not go to plan on race day. Something might happen during the race. Touch wood, but it's your ability to communicate is a big thing and to respond to something that does happen. I can't give an example, but I've done a few doubles. I've done one with your wife, Lauren. I've done a few with my partner, Georgie. Done a few with other males as well. I can't distinctly remember something happening and then having to change the plan, but being okay with that is the most important thing, and adapting on the fly. But our plan is our plan,
Yep.
which should give us every opportunity to go
So,
what? Fifth.
so I've So just yeah, as reference, like I practiced this without JK there, and I did assumed times for
Effort.
his
Yeah, right.
efforts, right? So I paced it off me
When
and
did you
what
do
I'd
that?
be a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I think I finished around 53 minutes, a little over 53 minutes. So I think that's possible. The the big thing is like, so I did this also when Lauren and I ran the Decafit in SoCal. I did an assumed paces for her, but she was faster than what I was guessing. So when we actually were racing, when it got time to do the assault bike, I did the assault bike and our plan changed. And that's exactly it. Like communication from that point on was like,
Key.
hey, I did this in practice and I was able to do it, but she was running faster than what I had assumed we were doing.
So you weren't recovering.
I wasn't recovering the
Yeah.
same. I wasn't getting the energy systems back, right? So I wasn't able to continue at the pace that I had assumed we were going to go because we were just so far ahead of pace. That could happen here.
Mm.
I know I'm going to be the limiter in this, and I'm wondering if like I'm going to reach a point, say at the row or the farmer carry, where I'm like, crap, crap, crap. How do I uh, communicate to you that I need to slow down or else I'm not going to
Yeah.
be able to finish, right? I think that's really important. And so if you guys have your races with your partner, communication with your partner is extremely important.
Yeah.
Um, one thing I like to remember is that like you guys are working hard out there. So when you're talking to your partner, it's loud, you're working hard, they're not yelling at you or you're not yelling at them. It's just they have a little bit of brain fog and it's hard to hear and comprehension is not at its highest at that point. So it's not yelling, it's just you got to be able to communicate what you're trying to get across, you know?
What in Georgie, one of Georgie and my doubles together, I've never heard Georgie speak so loud to me or be aggressive at me, but it was her brain frog. It was her being, competitive and wanting me to do a bit more than what I was meant to. But you're right there. Like,
I fully expect that there's going to be a point in this race where I'm like, JK, you got to do more. Like, you got to
well,
take a little more.
just remember, I am doing a race
I,
24 hours
oh, I know,
beforehand.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It'll be
I,
interesting.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm not there like, oh, Anthony, we're just gonna share the work. I don't give a shit.
We
You
want to
take the work.
send it.
We
Yeah,
want to send
yeah,
it,
yeah.
right? So
We want to.
if it's better, if it's faster for you to take more of the work, let's do it.
And look, shout out. I've heard that another elite athlete is doing the race as well, the men's pro. I've heard Dylan Scott is doing it. I don't know who his partner is, but Dylan, we're going to be out there to get you. Don't you worry.
So that's the next thing I was gonna go over is what are our goals for this race? JK apparently his goal is to beat Dylan Scott.
Beat
So
Dylan Scott.
if Dylan is listening to this, I don't know if he does or would, but that's interesting. Maybe I'll clip this out and make sure that he hears it.
Yeah.
My goal for this race is actually JK has his race the night before, the Elite 15 race. I want to not be an anchor. I want him and my doubles time to be faster than his solo pro time from the night before. That's my only goal in this
That's
race.
your goal.
I don't actually care. I mean, I care what place we come in. It'd be great to win, but I would much prefer that the time I get with JK as doubles partner is faster than his solo time from the day before.
We'll see what happens, but it's gonna have to be fast Saturday night, mate.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be real fast if you do what I hope you do on
Yeah,
the day before,
exactly.
right?
Hey, just quickly, have you thought about your fueling strategy for our race? Are you
Uh,
going to fuel midway
I'm
through or?
going to bring something.
Yeah,
So I have pockets in my shorts, and I'm definitely gonna have some stuff with me.
like gels, gummies?
Yeah, probably maybe a gel and a couple gummies.
Yeah,
I'll take something beforehand. I think what's going to be important is I don't know if I'm going to have like some sort of hydration or if I'm just going to have to like take a quick pit stop.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I think that's going to be super important, especially because I am susceptible and prone to getting cramps later in this race. And in order to get off that, I need something to help me.
mm,
Obviously, this race, our goal time is 13 minutes faster than what I did solo. And
yeah.
it just so happens, I know the intensity is going to be higher, but if we hit 53 minutes, that's about the exact time I was cramping uh, in my
At
solo
the
race. So maybe I can just wait to cramp until I'm on the stage.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We just wait till the aftermath. Yeah. So Yeah, interesting. Because if you're thinking that, your potential electrolyte levels are needed to be replaced during, it's probably something that we have to consider
Yep, and
taking or
that's something actually I want to talk to our audience about is after this episode, after the next one, this Elite 15 race, we'd like to talk more about recovery and supplementation and how you approach your races that way.
yeah.
We got some cool announcements to make over the next week, so it's going to be a little bit more of that. And then, JK, do you have a plan for your race in the Elite 15 Friday night?
Yeah, I'm doing exactly what I did in Hong Kong, and that's I've got a electrolyte mix that I have at hand. Like in the Elite 15 races, we have our own water station, so we can put our own water. But my little electrolyte mix is pretty much just carbs, and I'll be having that during the race. Normally earlier than not, let's just say. If I start thinking about it, I'm taking it because if mentally I'm thinking about, oh, I need a bit of a pick me up.
It's too late.
Yeah,
Not
it's
too
too late.
late,
Well,
but
it's not too
it's
late. I've thought about it for a reason.
yep.
So I'm taking it. I actually took it in two different um, times in Hong Kong. I did it before the burpees and then after the burpees. So we'll see. It might be earlier, might be later. Who knows? Yeah.
Awesome. So one thing before we move away from it too is the doubles. How can somebody create a doubles race plan? Like if you have two people that want to race a doubles, what strategy should they have to make sure that they're going to be their most successful in the race? If they're going out there, right? There's two ways to approach a HYROX. There's I want to complete it and I want to be competitive in
Yeah.
it. So if you're out there to complete it, like just make sure you have the ability to run or run walk the entire distance. Remember, it's not just a 5K. It's not even just a 10K distance. You got to be able to sustain on your feet movement for as long as you assume you're going to be out there with your partner.
I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Now, if somebody's out there to compete it, how should they go about creating their race plan? Like,
Mm, mm. The first thing that comes into my head, Anthony, is just being honest with yourself, with your partner. So if you think that you are the slower runner out of the two, be okay about that. Like, that's fine. It's just being honest about that and then working through your strengths versus your partners and coming up with the best plan to actually get to the finish line the fastest together.
Yeah.
It's just being open and honest about it.
Yep. And I think that's a good example is like, I know I'm the slower runner, so I have to dictate the run pace after the first run. JK can push me on it, but if I let him push me too hard on these runs, we're gonna crumble.
Yeah.
So that first run, just because I know myself that I will fly out there and try to be in first place in the front, I would do it in a marathon. I know that I'll let him start the race. I'll follow, but all the runs after that have to be at my pace. Yeah. Okay. And then the stations, because I'm going to be overrunning my threshold pace, you are underrunning. You have more to give in the stations than I do.
Yeah.
Even if like I might be faster at some of them, if that's all we were doing, you have the ability to give more at that time than I would have. Like, sure, I would need too much rest. So that's why basically we're splitting the stations almost in a like 1/3 to 2/3 ratio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the stations, not all of them, but awesome. Okay. So if anybody wants to say hi to us, would be welcome. Happy to say hi to you on Saturday.
I think you were about to say.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, I think for those of you who are going to be there in Vegas at the event, as Anthony, sorry, I just bumped in. Please come say hi, but probably more Saturday and Sunday. I know for a fact that I'm in my own zone come Friday and Friday night before my race, so I probably won't be there. Let's just put it that way. And I think we joked about it last week, Anthony. I've never seen Anthony so nervous and so in his own head before his wife, and then let alone six other athletes race. So it's probably more so Saturday, Sunday. We'd love to meet all
Yep.
of you and everyone.
Yep. So Saturday for sure. Even before our own race, I don't mind. I'll
Yeah,
say hi to
yeah.
you there. It's not as much pressure. Sunday, come join us on the hike.
Mm.
That's an awesome time. We'd be happy to talk to you guys then. There's going to be some exciting announcements this week. So if you guys want to pay attention to my wife, Lauren Weeks, her Instagram is also JK's Instagram.
Yeah.
There's going to be some cool things we get to announce over the next week before the next episode. So check those things out. And then yeah, very excited. Friday, I'm probably going to be pretty busy. So if you see me at the venue and I'm running around, I sorry if I don't see you. I have 9 athletes from the hybrid engine that will be competing in the Elite 15 right now. And one of them who is on deck, she's waiting for a call in case, hopefully nobody does, but if anybody does call out,
She's ready to go.
then she's ready to go.
I th
So
I just think I think the HYROX world need to understand how big that is from a coaching perspective. I'll be the first to say that I have been able to develop a life through HYROX as a coach, as an athlete, but to see someone like yourself, Anthony, who has got 9 out of 30 elite athletes racing on Saturday, you should be so proud of that. Um, it's it's crazy. It's a credit to you, number one. And I think, everyone here should be applauding you for that.
I mean, I'm feel very honored for it.
Good.
I think it has more to do with my wife because I think she is the most experienced, just like smartest person at HYROX. She'll say things that I just take on. So we've been doing this also. This is year 6. We're well into year 6. It's 5.5 years in. At the conclusion of this year's in June at Worlds, we'll have finished 6 years of HYROX
Oh,
and be going on to year 7. So it's really neat that we get the trust from these elite athletes, developing athletes and the kind, like just everybody. Because I tell you, our original thought when we started like the hybrid engine is like Lauren and I have a big background and we want, especially Lauren, she wants people healthy and like to enjoy fitness and do what they want in that way, right?
yeah.
So just seeing people move, if we can affect even one person, get one person to improve their quality of life through movement and everything, like that's big to us.
Massive.
Before coaching elite athletes, like I did coach one CrossFit Games age group athlete, and she was fantastic, and it was great to see her move. And I hope that when I'm her age and older, that I can still move as fast and as well as she does. But I was also a coach to 2 different people that I helped lose. Each person lost 100 pounds, and to see that change in a person is just it's amazing.
Mm.
And that's really like astounding to be able to do that. And I love that I get to share not only like my wife's experience in HYROX now with these elite athletes, but like my experience as a wrestler with people too, and see you guys. Like I think the biggest thing coaching wise is that I get to celebrate with you guys,
Yeah, totally.
because I think am as excited for you guys to do well and as excited for your guys' PRs, maybe sometimes more excited for your PRs than you guys are.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and it's just awesome to be able to see that. So, to all the hybrid engine athletes racing out there, we'll make a post about it, but you guys are awesome. And not just the elite athletes either. Like
Yeah.
there are 4 events going on in HYROX that weekend. So there's Manchester coming up this weekend, and then there's 4 events happening all over the world.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I think one of the coolest things is this is the first time there's 4 between Las Vegas, Auckland,
Auckland.
Turin, and Maastricht.
Wow.
Um,
That's
we have
phenomenal.
we have athletes at every single one.
Oh, that's great. So do I,
And
actually.
we
Yeah.
have athletes at every single one, and there's a lot going to Vegas. I say definitely the biggest majority is Vegas, but
Yeah.
it's really cool that how big of a global event this has become.
Yeah. Just on that, like the proof is in the pudding in relation to trust. You said the word before, trust. Trust in any relationship, right, is the most important thing. I trusted teaming up with you through understanding what Lauren Weeks is like as a person and as a competitor, and here we are now. And I bought in so quickly the the structure, the progression, the actual training, the coaching. And Lauren obviously was number one, and then we've got eight other athletes now in the elite field that have trusted the process so far and have bought in. And as what you just said, it's crazy. Anthony does definitely get more nervous than what I do probably now, because he is so bought into the process and us athletes. So it's been a crazy journey so far, mate, and it's not stopping now. So
Yeah. So thanks everyone for taking a listen. I think if you guys want, I know we talked all about HYROX and necessarily hybrid fitness, but we will be talking about hybrid fitness. There's a lot of really cool things coming up, not just HYROX this weekend and HYROX around the world the following weekend. But I'll get something out for everybody next weekend while JK is preparing for his elite race. I'll try to have the whole Elite 15 discussions like we do after these majors if I'm able to round everybody up.
yeah.
Might not have all 10 or however many people, but hopefully we get a majority of them. And then the following weekend, we'll still have something, and my wife will be doing her Black Canyon 100K.
Yeah, crazy.
And there's actually a lot more things that we're going to announce over the week. So if you aren't already, please go follow Lauren_E_weeks on Instagram. Follow at jk.jameskelly on Instagram. You can follow at the Hybrid Engine on Instagram. And you can find, obviously, our podcast if you're not listening to it on YouTube already. We do have it on a YouTube channel. But we have a lot more coming up. And the pre-show in HYROX, I believe, begins at 5 or 5:30 for Las Vegas next Friday. So thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you all have a great day.
See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. If you'd like to get in contact with James Kelly to seek out some coaching or for general questions and inquiries, please go to Instagram and find him at jk.jameskelly. Or you can find him and Georgie Vesley on YouTube at James Kelly and Georgie Vesley. If you'd like to contact Anthony or seek out programming or coaching questions from the Hybrid Engine, please go to Instagram at the Hybrid Engine or at a Wild Parasini. Thank you again. Have a great day.